sounded like the beginning scene of like Criminal Minds or something, you know?
Let us know that somebody was found dead next door. That baby is an extension of her mother and the rest of her family, so they lost a child as well. They lost.
The neighbors thought it was just shouting until they heard the sound of wood being chopped. But it wasn't wood. It was Lisa's final moments, and the killer was right upstairs. It felt like the opening scene of a crime drama. Someone struggling, tied up, fighting to break free. Then, out of nowhere, the screaming grew louder, sharper, desperate.
Killed in her own home in what many are calling a senseless and brutal murder.
Liese Dodd's ex-boyfriend is accused of beheading her.
She was just a loving soul, just a beautiful soul, a beautiful smile.
In the quiet town of Alton, Illinois, just after midnight, security cameras picked up a man walking down a dark street. In his hands, he carried a white laundry basket. He slipped behind a smoke shop and vanished from view. At the time, no one knew what was hidden inside. The truth would come out the next day, when a construction worker made a discovery he would never forget. At first glance, it didn't look like trash. Clothes were mixed together, men's, women's, scattered inside a basket. Shoes thrown in. Something about it felt wrong.
Behind the basket, and there was a couple pair of shoes. Shoes was some slipper shoes too. Slipper shoes. Okay. They was red. They had blood on them. They all look like female shit. Male shit too.
Female and male clothes?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the following afternoon, Heidi, a mother, drove to her daughter's apartment. Liese Dodd was just 22 years old and 8 months pregnant. Heidi hadn't heard from her in more than 15 hours. That silence was unusual, and a mother's instinct told her something was wrong. She let herself inside, but within minutes, she stumbled back out, trembling. Neighbors who peeked through the open door froze in horror. Heidi's voice shook as she dialed 911. My daughter's not. Her words broke apart as panic took over. When police arrived, the truth was revealed. Inside the small apartment lay Lisa's body. What happened to her would soon send shockwaves through the community. Lisa had lived in Alton all her life, a suburb of St. Louis, with crime rates higher than most areas of Illinois. But it was home. Familiar streets where neighbors went about ordinary routines, carrying groceries, taking out trash, heading to work. On June 9th, everything changed. Just down the road, construction crews had been working, hauling debris into a large red dumpster parked outside. That morning, as one worker carried old drywall, something caught his eye, a shape buried in the pile that didn't belong. It didn't look right, he recalled. I thought maybe it was just junk. Then I saw a knife, small, serrated. The way it was sitting there, it didn't feel like garbage. I picked it up carefully, by the handle. My gut told me something terrible had happened. The worker backed away, unsettled. His instincts were correct. What he had stumbled upon marked the beginning of a nightmare day in Alton, one that no neighbor, no family member would ever forget. Meanwhile, Lisa's friends recalled the silence. She said she'd text me back last night, but she never did. I kept calling this morning. Nothing. That wasn't like her. That's when I knew something was wrong. What unfolded next would unravel the chilling murder of Liese Dodd. First responders were dispatched just before 1 p.m. When they arrived, they found Heidi still sitting on the steps of her daughter's apartment. The door was unlocked. Inside the bedroom, they made a discovery so horrific that even seasoned investigators struggled to comprehend it. At first glance, Lisa appeared to be lying peacefully, her head wrapped in a towel, almost like a turban. But as officers moved closer, the truth emerged. Her head was gone. It had been severed. The scene was gruesome. There was no weapon, no sign of Lisa's head. Whoever had killed her had taken it with them. Not only had Lisa been murdered, her body had been desecrated in a way that stunned even hardened detectives. The quiet neighborhood of Alton would never be the same. Neighbors were shaken. They told us someone was found dead next door, one recalled. To understand, we need to step back 24 hours. The afternoon before her murder, Liese could be seen sitting on her porch, scrolling through her phone and watching the world pass by. It was June 8th, just before 2 p.m. 10 hours later, she would be gone. Liese Dodd was born on August 14, 1999, in Alton, Madison County. From a young age, she was bright, full of energy, and had a deep love for animals. For her 10th birthday, instead of gifts, she asked friends and family to donate to the Riverbend Humane Society, a local no-kill shelter. That kindness carried into her teenage years. She graduated from Jersey Community High School in 2017 and took a job at Dairy Queen, where customers remembered her smile and warm personality. But the job was never just about making ends meet. Liese was saving for her future. She wanted to follow in her mother's foot. By June 2022, Liese Dodd was 8 months pregnant. Her family was overjoyed, planning a baby shower for the little girl they lovingly called Baby Bean. But behind her smiles, Liese was hiding a darker truth. She was trapped in a turbulent relationship with her boyfriend, DeAndre Holloway. Their love had long turned violent. Liese's co-workers noticed bruises, black eyes, and excuses that never made sense. By the summer of 2021, the abuse had escalated to hospital visits, desperate texts to her boss, and threats that left her family pleading with her to stay away. By May 2022, DeAndre was unraveling. In messages to friends, he admitted losing control of his emotions and feeling close to collapse. On June 7th, he vanished, leaving Liese, heavily pregnant and terrified, alone. That night, she messaged her mother, confessing despair and self-harm.
I think she was making up a story, and then she finally did tell me that she had some problems with her boyfriend, was hitting her, and they were actually homeless.
The next evening, DeAndre returned. CCTV caught the couple arriving home at 9:11 p.m. Liese's final text to her mother read, "I'm trying to figure it out." Minutes later, she was gone forever. By midnight, cameras showed DeAndre leaving with a white laundry basket. Inside was Liese's severed head. Hours later, he appeared at his family's home, nervous, cutting off his dreadlocks, throwing away his clothes and casually carrying Liese's belongings. Liese was already dead. DeAndre himself had disappeared. A manhunt was underway. DeAndre refuses to sit down, arguing with officers, questioning their authority and pacing restlessly. His words are scattered and defiant, as if he's both confused and confrontational. At one point, his behavior becomes alarming. He laughs suddenly, then bangs his head against the wall. Concerned that he might seriously injure himself, the officers restrain him on the floor. Even then, he insists he'll get out, refusing to cooperate or even give his real name. But by now, investigators from Alton have arrived. They're here with a warrant, prepared to take his DNA, fingerprints, and other samples. Within 24 hours of Liese's body being found, DeAndre is officially under arrest. The next day, investigators attempt to interview him. He offers no answers, only silence, vague claims that he wants to go to work, and references to past medical prescriptions. Eventually, he requests a lawyer, and the questioning ends. On June 13th, DeAndre is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, homicide of an unborn child.
For about 2 years, now Holloway faces several charges. Alton Police Chief says
has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of intentional homicide of an unborn child.
DeAndre's family later spoke out. His stepfather offered condolences to Liese's loved ones, but said DeAndre had battled mental illness for years, with no real help available. In jail, his violent behavior continued until doctors ruled him unfit for trial. Later, the Illinois Supreme Court decided an unborn child couldn't count as a second victim, directly affecting his case. In January 2024, DeAndre pleaded guilty. A year later, he was sentenced to 60 years in prison with at least 52 to serve. But the motive still remains a mystery: jealousy, anger, or simply years of violence finally erupting. Liese's family continues to grieve, but they also speak out. In court, the family shows remarkable strength, honoring Liese and her unborn child. As the case closes, Lisa's own words resurface, a poem she once shared online. It speaks of strength, resilience, and the painful lessons of love and loss. Her message lives on, even as her life was tragically cut short. If you found this story powerful and want to hear more untold true crime cases, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more stories to light, stories that should never